Hello, this is Donald Trump from Mr. Cohn. Thank you so much.
Donald who?
Roy Cohn, nice to meet you.
The Roy Cohn from all the papers? Yeah, you're brutal.
Guilty as charged.
Roy Cohn is a crook. He's been indicted 3 times.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. People, they hire me because I'm a winner.
How do you win?
The first rule is the simplest. Attack, attack, attack.
It's going to be the finest building in the country, in the world. It's going to be spectacular.
The Apprentice is showing the story of Donald Trump in the early days, 70s, New York City, and under the shadow of his father, the Fred Trump, the real estate magnate, and he's trying to come out of this big persona's shadow into his own development business person of real estate in New York, and a coincidental meeting with Roy Cohn, a very high-profile lawyer at the time, sets him on the route to what he has become today. And the film shows about half of that path towards where he is today. Basil, first impressions when we walked in. We watched the trailer already. You've probably seen the trailer. You walked in and sat down, and what was your first thoughts on the film?
Love the way it looked. It's got this kind of like, I don't know what camera they used for it, but it's almost like this kind of like 80s kind of cop vibe sort of show camera, but it really works, you know, or like Christmas in New York, you know, and old films from that sort of area. It looks a bit like that. Almost a bit like The Holdovers. I don't know if you agree with the same sort of camera with that. I think you know where I'm coming from. But yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed this film. Sebastian Stan, I think, does a great great work in portraying the early years of Trump's life in terms of his, I guess, mid-20s, I want to say, up until his 40s, you know, or early 40s. You know, I think that's kind of the time frame we're looking over here. And, you know, he really gets into that role. You can see Trump in his naivety, even if he is rich and his family rich. He's a polite young man at first, who wants to make his way, you know, and he's unsure of how New York works. And obviously when he meets Roy Cohn, you know, in this kind of like, it's almost looked like a very dingy cocktail bar, you know, when New York is still suffering from near bankruptcy, and that you can see this bond that they have. You know, and obviously we don't know how many facts this is based on and how, you know, these two came together, but, you know, you're sold by it straight away. And Roy Connor's just got this, you know, he's just, Trump has this allure to him, and he wants to help him, you know, and it's a business partnership at the end of the day. But I don't know if you thought the connection between them two was almost quite brotherly, wasn't it, in the film?
Absolutely, brotherly or even fatherly a little bit. I thought, because Roy was, I mean, this character deserves a film in its own, to be honest. What a sleazy, high-profile New York lawyer this guy was, and what an impact it had on, because Roy Cohn was essentially it was almost like the what do you call it, the hunter, the sniper for the McCarthy during his career, during the McCarthy era, for hunting communists or assumed communists. So he would just investigate people. He would be the go-to lawyer to pick up and say, you're a communist. And he had so much power that by just simply saying it in the press would mean that that person is already coming without any proof. And this is the person that is teaching a naive, startup, eager, ambitious Trump in his 20s with a little bit of cash in the bank because of what his father has built, to just launch him into, it's almost like you're slingshotting him into a career or with the wrong principles. Because remember, the principles that Roy was always telling them was, what was it? Attack, attack, attack.
Yeah, never admit defeat, and never admit defeat,
deny
deny
everything,
everything.
and something like that. So you're thinking, wow, this is how. There's none of fairness principles in business or anything like that this person is being taught of. He's just saying, you do this, and that's how you're going to succeed. So it is that instead of teaching him the winner attitude, he gets the killer attitude to be taught.
Exactly.
What do you think of that relationship, that Roy's impact on Trump?
So
that's massive in the
I
film.
think it's you can either be killed or be the killer, I think was one of the quotes from the movie, wasn't it? You know, and I think with Trump and Con, there was a moment in the film, probably about a third of the way in, when Con just has to look at him and was like, "Oh yeah, this is the practice we do to get our way." And Trump just looks at him and he goes, "Well, that's illegal, isn't it?" like a kid asking a dumb question, and Con's like, "Well, yeah, of course it is. That's that." You know, he's teaching him how the world works essentially, and that's when you start to see the kind of change in the character. Really, you know, with Trump, he starts to learn the ways of, you know, you say sleazy and stuff like that, but it's like this, you know, killer in the law market, isn't it, with Con, and you see that, but that when Trump starts to learn those ways. He starts to implement that even into his relationship, doesn't he, with Ivania in the film, who's this beautiful, you know, Eastern European woman, and one of his Trump's first wife, I think. And you know, even Con makes sure that the prenup doesn't allow Ivania to have half his wealth if indeed they break up, which obviously they did.
Ivana, look, forget the gift clause, all right? Roy got carried away. Listen. I'll give you $50,000 now, like a signing bonus. All right, come on. The wedding is in 2 days.
$100,000 in my account before the wedding.
75.
100,000 Rico.
Ivana, please, let's talk about this. Come on, don't do this.
Go find someone else. I'm not a trophy wife.
You're gonna ruin your life if you don't marry me. Why? 1 second, listen,
Why is that?
Because I'm rich, I'm handsome, I have a great family, I'm gonna be the number one builder in New York. Listen to me. You're gonna have a life you can't even dream of, Ivana. With me. I love you. I love you, okay? I wanna have children with you. I want us to grow old together.
Better.
Hey! Congratulations!
Fuck you!
That was quite funny.
It's essentially a street negotiation.
Yes, essentially. Yeah, it's so callous. But did you find that there was a lot of scenes like that where it was just you know, the inhumanity of the situations really shown on camera?
It's almost like the ruthlessness of the business world at the time. It doesn't have to. This doesn't mean that this is reality, but at the time in the 70s, 80s, in the New York City, New York City was a decrepit, bankrupt city at the time. You know, it was called the city of fear at the time.
Right.
And this is where Trump came in and said, "I want to change that impression. I want to have Europeans come over," and all of the stuff we see in the film. So that vision was there from a real estate point of view. But there are these funny moments, especially in the first half of the film, when Trump is working his way out in understanding and applying the principles of Roy Cohn, and he, you know, negotiating in the street for his marriage, or literally sitting in the courtroom watching Roy denying everything, applying his principles and getting away with it.
Now, the government has failed to spell out one single fact concerning alleged discriminatory practices against blacks by the Trumps. I motion to have this case dismissed on summary judgment.
Overruled. Counselor, continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Agent Green, what led you to believe that you were denied a lease at Trump Properties based on your race?
Well, not only did the newspaper advertise...
That's Walter, DOJ. He runs the show.
I saw 3 Caucasian couples approved before.
Objection, speculation.
Mr. Cohn.
How can you say for sure
Mr.
they were
Cohn,
Caucasian?
please allow Agent Green to answer the question.
I've seen Puerto Ricans whiter than my tush after a long winter.
Your Honor.
I think the first part of the film was the best part, just because, and I'll ask you this in a second, just because I think in a way it shows Trump, you root for Trump, because he's just this guy that really wants to succeed, really doesn't want to depend on his father anymore, wants to make it in life on his own, has these ideas, and then he's taken under the wing of the wrong person, sort of justifies what Trump becomes later. Don't you think that's the case?
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I said you are rooting for him. He's a young man who's polite and he wants to make his way in the world. He wants to escape the shadow of his father. And he wants to essentially rebuild New York City, which is commendable in a way, isn't it? You know, you don't doubt that for a second in the first half of the movie. The second half, otherwise, as you say, taken under the wing, maybe by the wrong person, but it does lead to his success and power. And it's almost like Frankenstein's monster a little bit, isn't it? You know, it's like Roy Connie's made this fantastic entrepreneur, and then you can just see that the leash of power from Roy starts to slip, and Trump becomes his own man, and almost a little bit too powerful to be controlled. You know, it was a scene where Trump is going, you know, you okay? Have you lost it a little bit? You're getting a bit weak because, you know, and it's mad because, you know, previously in the film, Trump was, you know, just asking him please and thank you, and he wants his advice, and now look, the you know, the shoes on the other foot, as they say, and I don't know if you noticed that kind of almost like a character arc, wasn't it, from Trump in the movie?
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to. From Sebastian, I would have liked the film to continue with their relationship even in the later years.
Yeah, me too.
Just to watch that dynamic a little bit longer, even after Trump becomes successful, to watch how that dynamic changes.
Yes.
But essentially what the film does instead is shows that Trump has taken those principles and just refined them and perfected them and started applying them in every part of his life, including family relationships, and, you know, places where you should leave that should stay pure. Your family relationship and your relationship with your children should stay pure. You should never compete against everything around you to win against everything around you, and that's when I think the film is a little bit loses its way a little bit in the second part, but overall fantastic film. Very well done cinematography, and the acting. This is an
this is the thing. This is the thing I was just going to say to you. So Sebastian Stan playing Trump, obviously got Jeremy Strong playing Roy Con, and then Maria Bakalova playing Ivana in the film. And I think we'd agree all three of them absolutely fantastic. You know, really nailed down the role. So especially Sebastian Stan, though. But yeah, just a joy to watch, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Thank you very much for watching our review of The Apprentice. Please like and subscribe as always. And if you'd like to watch mine and Alex's review of the Joker Folie à deux, just click the link here and that should take you there. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.